First story. In possibly the wildest saga I've ever posted, OP's brother's GF claims to have an alternate identity as OP's actual child. I'm 34M. My wife is 32F. My brother is 27M. And my brother's girlfriend is 26F. I'm looking for advice here because this is completely over my head. And my initial reaction to this is probably way off. My brother has been dating his girlfriend for about a year now. She's a nice girl, but at times, her behavior is odd and erratic. She asked over and over again to babysit for my kids, girl and boy, ages 3 and 5. My wife and I have always said no. This weekend we had a barbecue, and she was acting extremely strangely, only speaking in a baby voice, not talking to any of the adults, running around with the kids. My wife pulled me aside at one point, extremely upset. She has found her in our 3-year-old room, in her play and ball pit area, sucking her thumb covered in our daughter's blankets with all of her stuffed animals. My wife was completely confused as to what was going on, and when she asked my brother's girlfriend what she was doing, she responded in a baby voice that she was tired and needed nappies. My wife came immediately to get me, and we both confronted my brother to ask him what the hell was going on. My brother got extremely embarrassed. He said that his girlfriend has dissociative identity disorder, and one of her alters is a 3-year-old girl, my wife. And I don't know anything about this disorder, so we didn't really say anything. We just told him to please go get her and keep her out of our kids' room. He went to get her, but within 15 minutes, he still wasn't out. I went to see what was going on, and his girlfriend was extremely upset, insisting that he call her Evelyn, our daughter's name. That was the last straw for my wife. She told her to leave, and her brother's girlfriend started straight up sobbing using her baby voice, saying she's confused and doesn't understand why everyone is being mean to her and calling her the wrong name. That night, my brother called and admitted that not only is one of her alters a 3-year-old, it's very specifically our 3-year-old. He said he can't talk to her about this because when she's not her Evelyn alter, she doesn't remember anything, and when she is her Evelyn alter, she isn't rational. My wife and I told my brother that she's not allowed at family functions anymore, and she's not allowed around our kids. My wife was extremely upset and told my brother that his girlfriend was psychotic and that she wouldn't understand why he was still with someone like that. My brother is upset that my wife said those things about her and said he understands we would be upset about her having an alteration of our daughter, but she can't help it, and we should be more understanding because it's a disorder due to childhood trauma. Did my wife and I handle this the right way? We know nothing about this disorder, and after doing research into it, the medical definition doesn't seem to match the way my brother's girlfriend is acting. Adding from a comment, because it seems relevant. She doesn't have an official diagnosis. I put that in bold because people keep asking. Apparently, it was rude of my wife and me to ask if she was getting treatment or had a diagnosis because therapy isn't available to everyone, and self-diagnosis is valid. She comes from a very affluent family and definitely has the resources to get therapy and a proper diagnosis. Relevant comments. I've got some really serious concerns about your brother. I'm not an expert on DID, so I'm not going to offer opinions on that. But your brother knew about her fixation on your child and brought her around that child without telling you anything. He's also in a relationship with someone who, at least some of the time, believes she is his 3-year-old niece. He didn't give you the chance to decide if this person was safe for your child. MJ8. I know DID is debated among professionals about whether it's a legit thing, but from the people I've seen who claim to have it, their alters are their own identities. It has never been someone else who actually exists. This is the bit that throws me off further. She claims to have a 3-year-old as an alter. Sure, whatever. But saying that she's your daughter. This is way more concerning. Don't let her go until she's sought professional help. Yashawumbo. Update 1. 3 days later. So to start things off, my wife and I have done a lot of research into dissociative identity disorder. Right off the bat, I'll be blunt here. I don't believe in the fad ID or anything that goes along with it. I don't think people are programmed to be systems. I don't think people make fictives over characters from TV or movies. I definitely don't think it's possible to make an alter of a specific 3-year-old girl. I think that's all attention-seeking BS. I don't know about the validity of actual DID, if it does exist, because at this point it is being faked so much that it's impossible to figure out if it's an actual disorder or not. I definitely don't think if someone did actually have DID, they would be on Reddit casually talking and making videos about meeting the alters and BS like that. And no, I don't think being in the DSM proves any validity whatsoever. I do think if you really are convinced you have DID, You probably do have some sort of disorder that you should get checked out with an actual, reputable doctor. Now that's out of the way, my wife and I have heard from my brother after the party. He still thinks we owe his girlfriend an apology. We told him that he owes us an apology for not telling us about his girlfriend's erratic and psychotic behavior. I'm not using the term psychotic to be insulting. I really do think she's experiencing some sort of psychosis. My wife told him that due to his extraordinary lack of judgment in bringing her around our family and our kids, when he knew about this, we didn't really feel comfortable having him around our children without one of us directly there either. We encouraged him to get her to see an actual doctor and get checked out. We told him we'd be willing to help her look for doctors in the area if she needed support and didn't want to involve her family in this for whatever reason. But we also told him that under no circumstances will she be allowed around our children again unless she goes through intensive therapy, realizes what she did was wrong, and apologizes for it. Thanks to everyone for pushing us in the right direction as to what to do. We really appreciated all of your input and comments. To clarify, I'm not saying DID isn't real. I don't know. I think you all know what fad I'm talking about. I don't believe in social media. The meet the alters and watch me switch BS. And yes, she does have a TT account where she does pretend to be my daughter. Relevant comments. Protect your children. This is disturbing behavior, and the fact that he tried to hide and then excuse her issues when they directly impact your home is such a breach of trust. I'm proud of you and your wife for securing your border. If no one else has said it, cameras are located near the egress and ingress points of your home. Curious Sukaheim, you are 100% correct. She is faking this. Either she has a mental illness other than DID, or most likely, she's faking for attention, or because it's the latest fad. Probably spends way too much time on TikTok. Your brother is enabling this. What's worse is that he is in a romantic or sexual relationship with a woman who pretends to be his 3-year-old niece. His 3 years old niece. He sees his girlfriend pretending to be his baby niece, and he is okay with effing her. Even if he doesn't do it while she's faking, he's still seen her acting like this little girl and continues to have sex with her. If he doesn't see that as a problem, that's a massive red flag in itself. Honestly, keep your kids away from her, and possibly him too, while he's with her. Imaginary card. Update 2. 4 days later. Final update. Things escalated with my brother's 27M girlfriend 26F, who has an alter of my child. This is probably going to be my last update because we have since cut off all contact with her and my brother and are in contact with the police. She refused to get inpatient psychiatric help willingly, but her family put her under a 5 on 150. Long story short, she approached our child while she was at the park with the nanny. Luckily, the nanny knew about the situation and removed our daughter immediately, contacted the police, and then contacted us. She tried to tell our nanny that we had told her to pick up our daughter and take her to her grandmother's house. She waited until it was close to the end of our nanny's shift to make it more believable. Luckily, the nanny didn't even engage with her. She just picked up our daughter and walked away, recording the entire incident to have proof. She ran after the nanny, telling our daughter, "Go ahead, Evelyn, tell her you know me. We're going to go to grandma's." Her family told us that there's never been abuse in the family. She has never claimed to them that she has DID, though they have long suspected she has histrionic personality disorder. My brother has not contacted us since this happened, but my wife doesn't want contact with him anyway, and I agree with her. Again, thanks for all of your advice and well wishes. Though she's never allowed around my family again, I'm incredibly happy she's getting the help she needs and hope her recovery and treatment go well for her, and I wish her the best. AITA, we have cameras and have installed more since the first incident on the perimeter of our property, as well as outside of our children's rooms. We're in the process of getting a restraining order. We have given our nanny a large raise. We are beyond thankful for her quick and rational thinking. Relevant comments from the OP. The nanny got a raise immediately after this. My wife is also taking her for a spa day this weekend. Words honestly cannot express how thankful we are for her and her fast, rational thinking. We have cameras and have installed more since the first incident on the perimeter of our property, as well as outside of our children's rooms. We're in the process of getting a restraining order, though it doesn't seem likely she'll be leaving the inpatient facility anytime soon. Second story. OP's stepmom wants to be in the delivery room, but OP just wishes her late mom could be with her. I've 29F always had a good relationship with my stepmom 54F, whom I'll call Sophia. When I was 7 and my brother was 5, we lost our mom pretty traumatically. My dad met Sophia a few years ago and did lots of family therapy after that. I was 10 or 11 when he introduced her as a friend, and it took 2.5 years before they got married. Sophia has always been great. She never tried to replace our mom. She left all of our family photos up. She was never offended. We didn't ask her to come to the cemetery, but she came when we did ask. She did my hair for high school dances, watched rom-coms with us after breakups, taught my brother to drive, and cried happy tears at both our weddings. She treats my husband like her own son. She's truly a great person, which is probably why I feel like such an awe in this situation. I'm 6.5 months along with my and DH's first child. Between the hormones and this new chapter of my life, I have been missing my mom extra fiercely these past months, wishing that she was here with me to meet her grandbaby. I've been visiting her grave a lot just to sit and talk. Basically cry about how much I wish she was still here. I know it's been 21 years, but her absence is like a physical ache some days. It started a few weeks ago when my dad warned me that Sophia had been remarking about being in delivery with me. The next time I saw her, she asked, and I gently told her only DH would be in the room with me. Since the first no, she's taken it as an invitation to change my mind. Every time she brings it up, I shut her down gently with, "I appreciate the offer, but I still only want DH in the room. We'll let family know when we're ready for visitors." Then last weekend, a couple of my cousins threw a casual co-ed backyard baby shower that included both my and DH's families. I overheard Sophia chatting with another of my cousins who's pregnant, and Sophia was trying to get her to convince me to have Sophia in the room. My cousin was ignoring her mostly, but then I heard Sophia say, "A girl needs her mom with her for that." I was probably hormonal or tired, but I was so upset that I finally interrupted and just said, "Yes, a girl does need her mother. Too bad mine died in front of me, and my bonus mom can't seem to take no for an answer." I didn't say it loudly enough for anyone but us to hear, but I was rather harsh, and then I went to hide inside, saying I needed to lie down. My dad said he understands my side and supports me no matter what. But that I really hurt Sophia's feelings by what I said, and I should at least apologize for that. I do want to apologize, but I also believe I deserve an apology for not being listened to. It was also the first time I ever really felt like Sophia was trying to replace my mom, and I just snapped a little. I feel horrible, so maybe I already know the answer. But AITA, update. 3.5 weeks later. Thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. I read through every single one, even if I didn't get to respond. I'm sorry it's taken me this long to come back with an update, but we became a family of 3 a bit earlier than expected. I won't go into boring detail, but after rushing to the ER with my husband and my medical team being rock stars doing everything they could, our little girl made her big debut a little over a week ago. She'll have an extended stay in the NICU, but she's doing as well as anyone can expect for being 12 weeks early. Onto the update I was asked for. I took the advice given and invited Sophia to have lunch with me via a silly card with a sincerely written note inside that I left for her at their house, which was a throwback to when I was in high school and we'd hide notes for each other. We met at one of our favorite brunch spots so we could work things out. I won't recount it all verbatim, but to all who said she was obviously going to turn into a boundary-stomping nightmare, thankfully, you were wrong. As one Reddit user suggested, I jumped the gun after only getting the gist of the conversation my cousin and Sophia were having. And after talking with my cousin as well, I can confidently say Sophia wasn't attempting to convince her or me of anything. I had interrupted her when she was trying to express to my cousin that she was too scared to ever give birth and couldn't have imagined doing it without her mom, that in her opinion a girl needs her mom during her first pregnancy, and she only wanted to make sure I had all of the support I needed since my mom wasn't here. That's when I interrupted so rudely. After some more conversation, lots of laughter, and more than a few tears, it was like it had never happened at all. And she even got to feel a little bit kick after dessert. I missed those kicks. Regardless, it all ended up being for naught because Sophia did end up being my first call after I was admitted. And Hubs was just as uselessly terrified as I was. She was calm, collected, didn't overstep or hover. And when it was time for her to leave the room, she had very heartfelt words that I'll likely never forget, which convinced me that at least a tiny bit of my mom's love, soul, spirit, and energy is living inside Sophia. Anyway, that's basically it. Sorry it wasn't more dramatic or juicy, but Sophia is truly a gem of a person, and pregnancy hormones apparently turned me into a raging monster. Our sweet girl was given a beautiful name to honor all 3 of her grandmothers. The middle name is a derivative of my lovely Mills, and the first name is a beautiful mashup of my mom's and Sophia's real names. I'm beyond blessed to have such loving, understanding, and supportive people in my life. Third story. OP wonders if there is any hope after his wife cheats, but she has no sex and confesses straight away. My wife, 34 years old, cheated, but had no sex and confessed. Is there any hope? A couple nights ago, my wife of 2 years together 6 went to a metal show with a friend who was providing professional service to the band, so she got to hang backstage beforehand for a couple hours. I didn't think much of this. She has done this before. It's a buddy system type thing, so her friend isn't alone with men she doesn't know, and my wife gets to see and meet bands she's into. She texted me throughout, like usual. She seemed off when she got home that night, but she just said she was extremely tired, and it was super late, so I didn't think much of it. The next morning, she confesses to me in tears that she ended up alone with one of the band guys for maybe half an hour. And they ended up talking, then flirting, then more. The extent of what happened is that she sat in his lap, they made out, and she felt up the outline of his DCK through his pants. He asked for more and asked her to meet him after the show. She claims she said no to both. She says I can contact her friend to fact check that they left together immediately after the show, but I haven't contacted her yet. She can't exactly give me a reason why this happened. She's a fan and was flattered by the attention and was just caught up in the moment, and it was a mistake, etc. I mostly believe that's all that happened, but I'm having trouble imagining that I can get past this. I feel sick and like I'm in shock. I don't feel angry right now, and I can tell my wife is hurting and guilty. I want to try and give this a chance at least, but I have no idea where to start. Has anyone had success with something like this? Or should I trust my gut reaction that I'll never feel the same about her? I think this post was deleted from another sub, but I'm desperate to connect with someone over this. I'm too ashamed to talk to my friends about it. My wife cheated, confessed right away, and wants to work things through. But I have no idea if I should try or how to even start that process. Top comment. I toured with rock and roll bands for many years. I dropped women off at home the next morning and had them ask me what they were going to tell their boyfriend or husband. You aren't getting the full story, and you probably never will. Her friend will never tell the truth either. Update. Wife cheated at concert. I'm sorry if it's too soon for an update, but I have a lot more information, so I figured I should share it with people who read my first post. Thanks to all for the advice, and for just reading my story. If nothing else, I feel less alone in this. I figured she would just lie, but I decided to reach out to my wife's friend anyway. She asked if she could call me, and that I should take it somewhere private, so I went out to my car. Here's how she told me things went down. I put all this in order as the conversation was very jumbled. Prior to the show, my wife made some comments to the friend that the band guy was attractive and asked her friend if she thought she had a chance, hypothetically. A friend said she thought it was odd, but figured she was being light or jokey. The band guy, who is 55, BTW, and my wife were flirting heavily and openly in front of the friend the whole time backstage. To the point where the friend texted my wife, asking her what her problem was. My friend left them alone, not even close to a half hour, maybe 10-15 minutes, while she went to her car to put her supplies back and came back to find them as my wife described them, sitting in his lap and making out. Prior to leaving them alone, she had asked my wife to go with her, and my wife repeatedly refused. They broke it upon a friend coming back. A band guy thanked a friend for her services, but called her a cork block. He asked if they wanted to party after the show, to which the friend said no and my wife said yes. Friend practically dragged my wife back to her car after the show, and only then did my wife begin to panic about friend possibly telling me. A friend told her she wasn't sure what she would do, but her friend is pissed at my wife and told me she's decided to cut her off. She feels she made her look unprofessional and like a groupie herself, and she's very mad that she had to walk to her car alone at night because of her. And she's disappointed in her for cheating like that. So there you have it. It's likely my wife didn't do anything more than what she said, but she definitely would have. She lied about it and tried to get ahead of the truth. Yeah, I'm done. I'm pretty sure. Top comment. Sorry to hear it, man. There's no reason to stay with her after this. She didn't confess because she felt guilty. She confessed because her friend caught her. It wasn't a drunken mistake. It was premeditated. OP replies in the post about the friend and his wife. She even apologized for not seeing the signs sooner and stopping things before it came to this. I meant to mention that I haven't even told her I know yet. I have barely spoken to her. She is sleeping in the guest room and has been told I need space for now. Also, it's so petty, but it makes me feel slightly better than if she didn't get laid at all. She's going to lose her marriage and hopefully her home, and she didn't get to F the other guy. That's something, I guess. Update. Divorcing wife who cheated at concert. I am going to try to keep this brief. I know I said I was done, but I just wanted to update since a number of people have asked. I appreciate all your kind words and support again. I asked my wife to give me a few days to think things over alone. She went to stay with a friend. She would blow my phone up every other day or so, alternating between being apologetic and angry with me. She told her family I kicked her out. I eventually told them why, but I don't think they believe me. I did decide to divorce her. I have a lawyer and am getting ready to start the process. I'm not sure how that's going to shake out for me yet, but I don't feel I have another option. Whatever happens, I'm just glad we don't have kids together. I informed her, and she hit the roof. We went through every stage. Her crying, apologizing, making promises to get angry, and trying to make me sound crazy and downplaying what happened. She said some awful things like how no one else would love me, and what a failure I am for giving up on 2 marriages. Yes, this is my 2nd marriage. Eventually, I just hung up and haven't taken her calls since. She had a case to stay in the house, of course, but she is opting to move in with family. I left for the day while she packed her things to avoid her. I don't think she even has a lawyer yet, so things are sluggish, and even texting her is terrible. So I think I'm going to go without contact and just have my lawyer communicate for me. This part is petty, but it's the only thing making me feel a little better right now. I met with her friend, the one who informed me, and her wife for a beer. She's still friends with my wife's other friends, and she let me in on some gossip. The wife has tried hitting up the musician on Instagram, but has gotten nothing back. She's deluded that they had a connection. It's almost sad. Her friends all think she's crazy and messed up hugely by doing all this. They make fun of her behind her back. It's kind of brutal. So she is telling me how sorry she is, and is still trying to get with this other guy who is sick. But I know she made the right decision. I'm not going to lie. I'm in a really bad place. I just don't know how I could be so wrong about someone. I know all the advice about working on myself, but right now I'm just getting through the days. Top comment. Dude, I'm sorry that you're going through this. I remember reading your story. You are doing what you need to do to protect yourself. You didn't give up on a 2nd marriage. She gave up on it when she cheated. Hang in there, and know that you've got people pulling for you. OP replies to comments. Thank you. My 1st marriage wasn't bad. We just got together super young, had kids super young, and drifted apart. She's a good person. Now I wish I had fought harder for that marriage, to be honest. Hanging in there, thanks. Nothing much has changed. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.